Welcome to the Google Cloud Update for the week of October 27th, 2025. I'm your host, and we have an absolutely packed episode for you today. This week is all about data, AI, and making your life easier. BigQuery is getting a massive infusion of Gemini-powered AI functions that will change how you write queries. We also have some major networking features hitting general availability, including dynamic network interfaces. Later in the show, we'll dive into a performance boost for Cloud Run, a critical security update for GKE you won't want to miss, and a fantastic new cost management feature in cloud billing that is now generally available. Let's get into it. All right, let's kick things off with our star of the show this week, BigQuery. The team has been incredibly busy, releasing a whole suite of features that are sure to make data analysts and engineers very happy. First up, and this is a big one, are 3 new managed AI functions in preview, all powered by Gemini. Imagine writing SQL that understands natural language. First, there's AI.if, which lets you filter or join data based on a condition you describe in plain English. For example, you could join a customer review table with a product table only for reviews that express a negative sentiment. Next is AI.score. This function rates your text or even multimodal data. You can use it to rank your data by quality, similarity, or any other criteria you can think of. And finally, AI.classify, which does exactly what it sounds like. It classifies text into user-defined categories. These functions are a huge step toward making complex data analysis more accessible right inside BigQuery. But that's not all for AI and BigQuery. There's also a new data engineering agent in preview. You can use Gemini to build and modify data pipelines to ingest data into BigQuery, all through a conversational interface. For the performance tuning enthusiasts, the Administrative Jobs Explorer has a new job details page in preview. It gives you an execution graph, performance variance, system load information, and even lets you compare 2 jobs side by side to spot discrepancies. This looks incredibly useful for troubleshooting those slow queries. On the data ingestion front, the Storage Write API now supports the Apache Arrow format, and this feature is now generally available. This is great for high-performance columnar data streaming directly into BigQuery. And speaking of getting data in, the BigQuery data transfer service has hit GA for several new sources: Facebook Ads, Salesforce, Salesforce Marketing Cloud, and ServiceNow. It's now easier than ever to centralize your data from these popular platforms. Just a couple more for BigQuery. For those managing shared data sets, subscriber email logging is now generally available, allowing you to log the principal identifiers of users who run queries against linked data sets. This data shows up in the information schema.shared dataset usage view. And finally, for those of you managing large-scale workloads, you can now group reservations together in preview. This lets you prioritize idle slot sharing within the group, giving you more granular control over your high-priority jobs. Whew, that was a lot for BigQuery. Let's shift gears slightly to its sibling service, BigLake. The Apache Iceberg REST catalog in BigLake Metastore is now generally available. This GA release comes with some powerful new features, including BigQuery Catalog Federation, credential vending, and catalog management right from the Google Cloud Console. This is a huge win for managing open table formats. Next up, let's talk about compute and serverless. Starting with Cloud Run, if you're deploying services or functions from source with a GPU enabled, Cloud Run will now default to using the E2 high CPU-8 machine type from Cloud Build. The upshot is higher CPU support and much faster build times. Do keep in mind this will lead to a moderate increase in the cost of your build, but for GPU-heavy workloads, the speedup will likely be worth it. Over in the world of Kubernetes Engine, or GKE, there's an exciting new upgrade strategy in preview called auto-scaled blue-green upgrades. This strategy is designed to maximize the time before your disruption-intolerant workloads are evicted, while still being cost-conscious. It's a great new option for those who need high availability during node pool upgrades. And for you AI and ML folks on GKE, you can now use the G4 VM, which is powered by NVIDIA's RTX Pro 6000 GPUs with GKE Autopilot. This is available in version 1.34.1 and later. Now, let's dive into networking and security. We've got some major features hitting general availability. First, dynamic network interfaces, or NICs, are now GA. This is fantastic news. It means you can now add or remove network interfaces from a running VM without having to restart or recreate it. Plus, you can now push past the usual limit of 10 VNICs and configure up to 16 total interfaces on most machine types. This provides a ton of flexibility for complex networking setups. Also hitting GA, application load balancers now support authorization policies. You can configure access control checks for incoming traffic using a custom authorization engine via authorization extensions, which are also now GA. And for the IPv6 crowd, you can now specify a /96 IPv6 address range when reserving static regional IPv6 addresses, and this is generally available. Now for a critical security announcement. A high-severity vulnerability, CVE 202539682, was discovered in the Linux kernel that could lead to privilege escalation on container-optimized OS nodes. This impacts both GKE standard and autopilot clusters. Clusters using GKE Sandbox are not impacted. It is highly recommended that you upgrade your node pools to the latest available patch versions. Please check the security bulletin for the specific versions you need to upgrade to. And on a brighter security note, let's talk about cost. Anomaly detection in cloud billing is now generally available. This dashboard helps you view and manage cost spikes that deviate from your typical spending. It now includes auto-generated thresholds that update daily based on your usage, a new deviation percentage threshold you can configure, and automatic email alerts for billing administrators. This is a must-use feature for keeping your cloud bill in check. Finally, Security Command Center is bringing its issues view to the premium service tier at the organization level. This includes powerful preview capabilities like identifying toxic combinations, choke points, and using graph search to explore your security posture. Let's move on to the world of databases. There are updates across the board. For Cloud SQL for MySQL users on the Enterprise Plus edition, the optimized writes feature has been enhanced. It now includes an improved crash recovery algorithm to reduce downtime and adaptively uses unused disk I/O throughput to warm up the buffer pool faster. This should give you a nice performance boost for write-heavy workloads. Over at AlloyDB, a new feature called Enhanced Backups is in preview. This integrates your cluster's backups with the Google Cloud Backup and DR service, giving you vaulted backups with retention lock enforcement and centralized policy management. Bigtable is also getting some love, especially for AI developers. It now provides vector and key value store integrations for LangChain, the popular LLM orchestration framework. This makes it easier to build LLM-powered applications on Bigtable, including performing maximal marginal relevance search. And to make security simpler, you can now use Cloud KMS AutoKey right in the console to automate customer-managed encryption key management for your Bigtable clusters. For our Spanner users, Spanner Graph now supports named schemas, giving you more structure and organization for your graph data models. And a quick GA announcement, the database clone feature is now generally available for both Datastore and Firestore. All right, let's wrap up with a few quick hits and public service announcements. For Dataproc users, a heads up. The subminor image version 2.3.16 for Dataproc on Compute Engine has been blocklisted, so you won't be able to use it for new clusters. If you're using confidential computing with AMD SEV-S&P, a recent firmware update means instances will now generate V4 attestation reports. If you have custom parsers designed for V3 reports, they might break, so be sure to check your attestation logic. And for those using Identity Aware Proxy, or IAP, it's now generally available to use a path wildcard in the audience field when authenticating with a service account JWT, a small but very welcome improvement for flexibility. And that's a wrap for this week's Google Cloud Update. From a flood of powerful new AI functions in BigQuery to the GA of dynamic NICs and anomaly detection, there is a ton of new functionality to explore. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week for another dose of Google Cloud news.